Going to do a painting today using these brushes. They're mop brushes made with squirrel hair. Not sure if you can see that. It's a size 14 pure squirrel mop. That's made by Jackson's, and it's a smaller one. It's a 000 squirrel hair again. That's Winsor and Newton. And for a bit of detail, I'm just going to use this pointed round. That's Kolinsky sable. And these brushes come into their own really, painting skies, kind of in the style of Edward Wesson or James Fletcher Watson. You can see I started by just wetting the paper, just lightly with the mist bottle, and I'm just going to pick up some ultramarine and keep it quite wet. I want the paint to move around quite a bit on the paper. So I just start by bringing the paint straight down and just allowing it to sort of move around, and just grabs a bit more blue. Again, bring it straight down, vertical. You can be quite sort of free and loose and expressive with this. And I'll just pick up some of the grey that's on the palette there. Again, bringing it straight down, allowing it to touch parts of that blue and kind of blend together. I'm also leaving behind just a few bits of white at the paper. I've added a touch of alizarin, and again, just very kind of loosely scrubbing it onto the page. I'll just pick up a bit of raw sienna now. That should add a touch of warmth into the sky. There's only a touch in there, so it's quite subtle, but you can see it. You can see a sort of touch of raw sienna glow. And I'll just bring that straight down, roughly where the horizon's going to be. And I'll just grab a little bit more blue. Now this is going to be a beach scene, so I'm going to bring that down pretty much where the sea's going to be, but I'll leave a few kind of white areas unpainted there, and that'll act as sort of small waves breaking onto the beach. And I'll just pick up a bit more raw sienna and just mix that with what's on the palette. It just kind of dulls it down a bit, and then just bring that across just for some sand. And then a touch of burnt sienna into that just to vary the colour a bit. Again, being careful just to leave those little white areas behind. They'll be quite important later on. Okay, it's the first stage of this wash done, so I'll allow it to dry naturally for now. Okay, it's been about 5 minutes or so, and you can see the sheen's gone off of the paper, but it's still slightly damp. So I've picked up the smaller mop brush and I've just mixed up kind of dirty green with some ultramarine, raw sienna. I'm just going to add in a very simple kind of sand dune area, and that's going to go off into the distance. Keeping it very simple, just allowing it to sort of diffuse into the paper where it's still slightly damp, like I said before. And just always varying the colour ever so slightly as I go. I'm going to mix it up a touch darker still ultramarine, raw sienna, and just add some darker areas to the dunes there. Still in the same similar style to the sky, keeping everything very kind of loose. Okay, I'm going to switch now to the pointed round sable brush and just pick up some more blue. Now I'm going to add a cliff, and there's a lighthouse on top of the cliff, but it's quite far away, so I'm going to very simply put that in. Just a couple of rectangles basically. So there's the tower of the lighthouse, and then just bring that across. That's for the main building. Some more ultramarine, some more raw sienna, and that just makes it slightly darker, slightly on the greener side. And I'll very simply just put in the shape of the top of the cliff. It's quite far away off in the distance, so no detail at all. But keeping it blue makes it recede off into the distance. I'll just pick up a bit of the grey on the palette there, and then just put in just the outline of the cliff. And taking a bit of care not to paint over where I've already put in the sand dunes. And leave a few kind of areas unpainted. It's just kind of like a suggestion, maybe there's some light catching it. Okay, now just pick up even more blue. And I'm just going to put in just the horizon line and the sea. So just bring that straight across. Okay, I've gone a bit offline there, so I'll just bring that over straight. Doesn't have to be too straight. I mean, you don't need to get a ruler out or anything like that. Yeah, just keep it slightly loose, really, I suppose, in keeping with everything else. It just adds to the impressionistic feel. And bring that water area straight down, keeping it kind of going at an angle with the line of the beach, but also taking care to leave a few areas unpainted and not to cover up where I've left that white behind. So I want that to look like some gentle little waves breaking onto the beach. I'll switch back to the small mop brush and just pick up some burnt sienna. And I'll bring that across on the beach area. Maybe it's a shadow, or maybe some darker, wetter sand. And then using slightly directional lines just to take it off into the distance. Adds a sense of perspective. And darken that a bit with some ultramarine burnt sienna, and then just bring that all the way across. It's quite nice to bring a shadow or a darker area across the bottom of a painting kind of acts to frame it. Also helps with perspective and pushing everything back. Okay, that's that wash finished, so I'll dry it off completely now. Okay, it's now fully dry, so I'm going to mix up a dark with some ultramarine and burnt sienna again. I'm just going to put a few figures in, just to give the scene a sense of scale. And now I'm going to place the heads roughly on the horizon line. It's just a small dot, and I'll put all the heads in one go, and I think I'll just do 3. So maybe it's a family walking along the beach, so 2 heads roughly on the same line, and then one a little bit lower, so maybe that's a child walking along. And for the body, I'll just pick up a bit of blue, just put in kind of like a rough kind of rectangle shape, I suppose, slightly squashed rectangle, and I'll add some alizarin, and just to vary the colour, and same again, and I'll pop a bit of Indian yellow in again just to vary it slightly, and same kind of shape, just slightly smaller for the child there. I'll mix up a very simple grey. It's not really important what colour you use really. And I'll just put in some legs, keeping it very simple and loose really. Just bring the legs straight down, but just keep one slightly longer than the other, and that'll give the impression that they're walking along. Kind of always try not to be too accurate when putting figures in. Somehow it seems to look better. And I'll just join those two together, so maybe it looks like the child's holding the hand of the parent. I'll just quickly go back into that brown that's left on the palette and just do a quick suggestion of some shadows. Okay, back into that darker paint. I'm just going to put a few hard edges just along the dunes there in the foreground, and it just kind of anchors it down really, I suppose, and gives a sense of perspective, aerial perspective, and pushes the distance even further back. Just a few very simple kind of grasses. And then I'll just bring a bit of dry brush over the foreground. And I think finally I'll just pop in a suggestion of a few figures off in the distance. It's barely more than just little dots and lines really, but it just adds even more kind of sense of scale. Okay, with that I think that's the painting finished. Okay, let's take the tape off from the outside and have a look at the finished painting. Okay, so that's mop brushes, and as I said before, perfect for painting kind of like loose impressionistic skies, somewhere in the style of Edward Wesson. Well, I hope you liked the video and got something from it. If you did, please give it a like and subscribe if you haven't already. I've set up a new Patreon page and please follow me over there if you like. I'll be uploading every week, and you can get all my videos without any adverts, and I'll also be uploading some exclusive full-length demonstrations over there. Well, I'll be back again with another video next week, every Friday as usual. So until then, happy painting and bye for now.